Hello and welcome to GIS for Public Policy. The first thing you're going to need to do, hopefully before class starts, is install Quantum GIS or QGIS on your personal computer. If you are using a Windows machine, this is the video for you. There will be a separate video for doing this on a Macintosh. One of the reasons we're using Quantum GIS is you can load it right on your machine and you don't have to work on your projects or your homework through the Hive as we have done in past semesters. So let's get right to it. There are instructions for doing this in the textbook, Learning QGIS, but this video will have a couple of additional elements and a few tips along the way for your installation, because there's a particular way that if we all do it, we'll be in good shape. So the first thing you're going to need to do is find the software itself. And so we're going to do that by typing install QGIS, and we'll do our usual Google search. And what we're going to look for is a link that says QGIS Installers, and this will take us to the QGIS.org website. And since we are installing on a Windows machine, we're going to go to this Installers page. And you see there is a potentially bewildering set of options here for you. And what we're going to use is this for advanced users, and we're going to use the network installer. Don't be confused, we're not actually installing this on a network, but by using the network installer, it becomes very easy to maintain the installation without downloading a gigantic file. Now, as you see, there are two versions here. There's a 32-bit and a 64-bit, and that's going to be specific to your computer. If you don't know what kind of computer you have, then what you need to do is open up your Windows Explorer window and then find the icon that says This PC. You right-click on that, select Properties, and this will tell you all the sort of down and dirty information about your PC, including whether or not it is a 32-bit or a 64-bit operating system. This one happens to be a 64, so that is the installer that we need to grab. So we're just going to click on that installer, and we'll tell it to save file, whatever your browser needs to do to save the file to your hard drive. And what happens here is it's downloaded, and I can simply click on that, and it's going to start the installation program. You might get some sort of information along these lines, either from Windows or maybe from your virus scanning protection software. Just click yes. This is going to be a safe file to work on, and then you get to this big gray screen, and we don't need to know that the file is safe. We are going to choose here Advanced Install, so you need to select that bottom button and then click Next. We are going to install from the internet, so leave that as the default. I'm going to click Next. What we want to have now is a root directory where all of the workings of Quantum GIS are going to be stored, and I don't know what the default would be. I have installed this before, so it is putting it in OSGO4W64, which is fine. It's going to put it in that folder on my hard drive C. We can do this for all users, and can create an icon on the desktop if you like, or add it to the start menu. Good idea to check both of those so you can find the software after it has been installed. So once you've given the directory a name that you can remember, click Next. And again, we want to make sure that we have a local package directory where things are being installed, and then this is just what it's going to show up as in our start menu. So our start menu name, all pretty self-explanatory. If you want to put the local package, the software somewhere else, you can browse to find a place on your hard drive. And then once you get to the root directory, type in the name of the file you want. But I'm happy with the folder name that I've got, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Clicking Next again. We are going to use a direct connection to get to the server that has the software on it for download. Click Next again. This is the only place to get it from, so we don't have to do anything there. Click Next. Now, this is where a couple of choices that we have to make are going to be important. The first thing we want to do is open up the desktop option here, and you do that by clicking the plus sign. And you see this, again, a sort of bewildering array of things that you want to either install or not install. The main thing we want to make sure we do is that this, down here on this line, you're going to be looking for QGIS-LTR, which stands for long-term release, QGIS desktop long-term release. That's the one we want because that's going to be the most stable. There are not going to be updates to it while we're going through the course or anything that could possibly introduce, a bug in a new version of the software, as often happens. So this is the stable version, and all you have to do is just click that until it says either keep or install. In my case, it's keep because it already is installed, but if it says skip, I'll do it for one of these other options. Say if I wanted to install the developer version, I would just click the skip, and it changes it to the version number, and it puts a little X here, and I can toggle that back off because I don't actually want to install it. But yours will start out by saying skip, click it until it has the version, and where the NA is, you have a box instead with an X on it, and then you're good to go. The one other thing we need to do is expand this lives or libraries list, and scroll down here until we get to the GDAL OGR library and command line tools. That's going to, we'll get to this in the course, but that's going to enable us to use a particular kind of database in which geographic information can be stored. So we want that one. So again, the GDAL OGR library. And we also want the one that's GDAL-file GDB, or the OGR file GDB driver. Again, don't worry about the reasons for this, the specific reasons for this, but if we have them installed, it'll make it a lot easier for us to use some common data in class and in your homeworks. So then we're just going to click Next, and the package is downloading and installing, and probably because I have installed this before, it was very, very fast on my machine. But yours might take a little bit longer. But once it says installation complete, you click Finish, and you will be good to go. Make a donation to the QGIS folks if you care to. Not at all mandatory. So I'm going to close this browser window, and you should end up with a folder on your desktop called QGIS OSGO4W. And that is actually a folder within which you're going to find a couple of files. One is going to be this setup file that we just ran. That is the installer. So if we ever needed to go back and add a component or change something or update something, that's where we would do it. And then there's going to be this QGIS-LTR.bat. And if you're not familiar with the dark ages of computing, batch files are lists of commands that are going to be run sequentially in the DOS environment outside of your Windows interface here. But all you need to know is that if you double-click that bat file, it's going to run a couple of commands and then start your Quantum GIS software. So I'm double-clicking that. You'll get this splash screen, QGIS 2.14, that's the version. It's Essen. They name each version for a different city, I believe, all in Europe. And then you will see the interface. The QGIS tips here, you can turn them off forever if you want to, but I still use them. I learn something pretty much every time I open this software, and so it's pretty handy to have that. So you can click OK, and then you'll be ready to go, and this is where we'll begin our work on the first evening of class. Thanks for watching, and hope this helps. Please email me, srp9kv@virginia.edu, if you have any difficulty, and I will walk you through this, or we'll take care of it the first day of class. Good night.